So if you have ADHD, you probably had moments like this. You tell yourself, I'll just scroll for 5 minutes. And suddenly 40 minutes are gone and you're still there. Or you grab something sweet from the kitchen, even though you're not really hungry. Or you open Amazon for a small thing and somehow there are 6 things in your cart. And afterwards, you sit there thinking, why do I keep doing this? And honestly, that loop has a name. And I call it dirty dopamine. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. So dirty dopamine is the kind that comes fast, easy, and almost without any effort. Things like endless doom scrolling, eating junk food, watching porn, impulse shopping, watching YouTube video after YouTube video, having another coffee even though you already had 5. It's quick stimulation, it's a quick relief, and I mean, of course it works. That's literally what those things are designed to do, right? But here's something that took me a long time to notice. It works immediately, and then it disappears just as fast. So why do we chase this stuff so much? So ADHD brains tend to run on lower baseline dopamine, which means that a lot of the time we feel bored, we feel restless, we're understimulated, kind of mentally just flat. So our brain is just constantly scanning for stimulation around us because it's trying to self-regulate. When dopamine drops, the brain basically says, hey, fix this. Now, I want to fix now. And the fastest fix is easy stimulation. Doom scrolling, eating some candies, eating some chips, some crackers, something crunchy, something highly palatable, your notifications on your phone. And I notice that on myself sometimes. I sit down to start something, open the laptop, and then before I even begin the task, my brain just goes like, oh, let's just check YouTube for a minute. Or I stand in the kitchen, not hungry at all, but suddenly I'm opening the fridge. And I look in the fridge, I go through it, can't find anything, I close it, and 5 minutes later I do the same thing again. I go through it, can't find anything, and go through that loop until eventually I grab something and just eat it out of boredom. So that means that our brain is just looking for a quick hit. And here's the problem that most people miss with this. Dirty dopamine backfires because it spikes fast, but it also crashes fast. And after that crash, your baseline dopamine is often even lower, which means suddenly work feels a lot harder. We can't concentrate, focus feels almost impossible. Your workout's getting harder, training feels hard. And then the brain goes and looks for that hit again. Another scroll, another snack, another distraction. And that's the trap here. You're not feeding your brain, but you borrowing energy from tomorrow. And our ADHD brains are especially vulnerable for this because we already struggle with delayed reward. We respond strongly to immediate feedback. So when the brain learns that dopamine can arrive without effort, without patience, without friction, it slowly starts resisting anything that does require effort. And unfortunately, most meaningful things in life require effort. You want to exercise, you want to work out, you want to learn something new, you want to build something. Even relationship takes effort. And this is why this is so difficult for us. So what's the alternative? Well, it's what I call clean dopamine. And honestly, it feels a lot different because it's much slower. You usually have to earn it. It doesn't explode in your brain, but it lasts longer. And more importantly, it raises your baseline instead of crashing it. Things like exercise and moving your body regularly. Things like going outside and spending time in nature and getting some sunlight. Finishing something you've been avoiding. Breath work, meditation, cold water, learning something new. Actually talking to someone. Making progress on something that matters. For example, one small change that I made recently is that I stopped grabbing my phone first thing in the morning. I still have my coffee, of course. That part isn't changing. But I drink it without scrolling, just sitting there, looking outside and letting my brain wake up. And while this is only a tiny change, the whole day feels different because I didn't start the day with that dirty dopamine hit early on. And sometimes in the afternoon, I catch myself drifting. You know that feeling. You get brain fog, you feel a little bit overwhelmed. And my first instinct is to grab my phone, open it and just start scrolling. But now what I do instead, I just go for a 5-minute walk. Or I sit down and do a little bit of breath work. Or I stretch for 5 minutes. Or I just do a 5-minute workout. It's nothing heroic. But afterwards my brain just feels more calm and reset. And that is clean dopamine doing its thing. Now look, I'm not pretending that I have eliminated all dirty dopamine in my life. I mean, I still get stuck on YouTube sometimes. Or I suddenly realize that I have been scrolling on Instagram for half an hour. Often my wife reminds me as well. So it's not really about perfection. It's more about default. So if dirty dopamine is your default setting of your day, your brain slowly starts to get weaker. If clean dopamine becomes the default, your brain slowly gets stronger. Okay, so what actually helps to break this loop? One thing that helps a lot is adding friction to the easy stuff. For example, I moved social media off my home screen. I don't have Facebook there, I don't have Instagram there, I don't have TikTok there. So if I want to use it, I actually have to look for it, I have to search for it. And that tiny bit of friction sounds silly, but half the time I don't even bother anymore because it gives me time to think. Another thing is, don't keep constant temptation around. If there's chocolate sitting in the fridge, I'm gonna eat it. Not because I'm hungry, but just because it's there. If there's an open bag of candy, I will just eat it until it's gone because I can't resist it. So sometimes the simplest strategy is just not buying it in the first place. And another big one is small movements. And I'm not talking about full workouts. Sometimes it's literally just 10 push-ups, a 5-minute walk, a quick stretch, a few kettlebell swings in the garage. And that tiny bit of effort gives the brain a real dopamine reward. And honestly, movement is one of the most powerful ones. Exercise is basically dopamine regulation training for the ADHD brain. It stabilizes the system, it improves focus, it reduces impulsive behavior, which is exactly why I talk about movement so much on this channel. And if you don't know where to start, I have an ADHD emergency workout protocol. There is a link in the description below. All I want is your email and I'll send it over. And here's one more uncomfortable one. And a lot of us struggle with this, especially in our time and age. And this is to learn to tolerate boredom again. ADHD brains hate boredom. And I see that on my son. It's almost physical pain, especially in an age where you don't really know how to regulate your emotions, right? I mean, if we get older, we kind of get used to it because we understand ourselves a little bit better, but for kids, it's just horrendous. Anyway, so the problem is that we try to escape boredom immediately. Just think about it. I can't even go to the toilet without my phone. We have to listen to music. We're watching constant videos. You watch a movie and you get bored by watching the movie and start scrolling on your phone. I mean, it's absolutely mental, right? And this is something that I'm working on at the moment because it drives me crazy. My father used to say, I could look at a white wall and I wouldn't be bored. And I honor that. And I want to get back to that a little bit more. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going to leave my phone in the other room and it just sits there for a bit. And I know it's weird at first, and it's actually really, really difficult. And how often I catch myself to just walk over and just want to grab it, and then it comes back into my mind, because honestly, sometimes I forget that I want to do that, right? And there's another trick that helps me as well, which is using an app that just blocks my phone. So I take it, I look at it, and I can't use it, because it's blocked for 30 minutes, an hour, whatever time you set. So it's really, really helpful. And the app is called Digital Detox. You can just check it out, it's free. Anyway, so if you do that and you start to learn to get used to boredom again, ideas starting to come back, motivation slowly wakes up again. And that shows that our brain just needed a little bit of space. So instead of asking yourself, why do I keep doing bad habits? Try asking a slightly different question. Where can I earn dopamine today? Even small things count. A short workout, finishing one task, going outside. The little wins slowly retain the brain. And look, ADHD brains aren't broken. We're just more sensitive to dopamine swings. If we constantly feed the brain fast, borrowed, easy dopamine, life slowly gets harder. But when we start building dopamine through effort, focus improves, mood stabilizes, and things start feeling manageable again. Now, if you found that helpful, if you liked the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, all the stuff that YouTube wants to help the channel grow and to get the videos out there in front of the eyes of more ADHDers. And up here, there's going to be a video that will be helpful for you at this point. You know, YouTube knows what's best for you. And remember, you're good the way you are, and I'll see you in the next one.